Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Sonal Rajpal. Today I am going to explain what is decomposition reaction. Students, it is that reaction in which a compound split up into two or more simpler substances. That is called as the decomposition. And this decomposition is just the opposite of combination reaction. So there is a general reaction for decomposition. Suppose AB is a compound. When you give the energy in any forms, it can split up into the smaller substances A and B. So this is called as the decomposition. And all decomposition are mostly endothermic reaction which is carried out in the laboratory. And energy in the form of heat, sunlight and electricity is required to carry out these reactions. Again, I am going to explain the various form of decomposition reactions. They all are endothermic process and energy in the form of sunlight is required. That process is called as photolysis, and the energy in the form of electricity is required. That process is called electrolysis, and the energy in the form of heat is required. Then that process of decomposition is called thermal decomposition. Students, I am going to explain here the thermal decomposition first. In this, the heat energy is required to carry out the breakdown of the complex substances into the simpler forms. And student, the symbol of the heat is delta. And I'm going to explain one example. This is a ferrous sulfate, which is a green color compound, and whenever you are giving the heat, it will break down to give ferric oxide, which is a brown color substance, and SO2 and SO3. These are the gases. Sulfur dioxide and the sulfur trioxide is formed. They both have a very unpleasant smell of rotten eggs. So you can say, student, above is a thermal decomposition, and in this reaction there is a change in colors and the evolution of the gas takes place along with the endothermic process. And another example of this thermal decomposition is lead nitrate. When the lead nitrate is whenever you are giving the heat to this lead nitrate, it will break down to give PbO, that is a lead monoxide. These are the yellow color substance. NO2 gas is formed, which is a brown color gas, and oxygen gas is formed. And in above thermal decomposition, there is again a change in color, because this lead nitrate is colorless and PbO is yellow color substance, and the formation of the brown color gas of NO2 is also formed. And now I'm going to explain by the decomposition by the sunlight. That process is called photolysis, and the compound which will undergo the photolysis is AgCl and AgBr. And whenever this AgCl is exposed to sunlight, it will break down to give Ag and Cl2, or any form of light you can say. And this AgBr, when exposed to light, it will break down to give silver and bromine gas, which is a red brown gas, and the chlorine is a yellowish green. And above example of decomposition by sunlight is used in the black and white photography, students. So electrolysis is also a decomposition reaction in which the electricity is required to carry out the decomposition process. And in this, student, I'll take the example of water. When the water is undergoing electrolysis, it will produce 2 molecules of hydrogen gas and 1 molecules of oxygen. And this hydrogen gas is produced at cathode and the oxygen is produced at anode. And student, the volume of the hydrogen gas is 2 times than the volume of the oxygen gas. And again I am going to take another example. If you have a molten NaCl, sodium chloride, if it will undergo electrolysis by passing electricity through it, you will get a sodium metal which is produced at cathode, and the chlorine gas which is produced at anode. And students, if you need to remember which is produced at cathode and anode, because student, cations always are positively particles. They are always deposited at cathode, because cathode is the negative terminal of the cell. And chloride ions is a negatively charged particles, and ions, it is always deposited at the anode, positively terminal of the cell. So you always remember CC and AA. And in conclusion, I want to say, in all the above example, decomposition reactions carried out with the help of various form of energy, heat, sunlight and electricity, and they all are endothermic reaction, means energy is required to do this above decomposition. But one exception, student, digestion of food in the human body and in living organism, and the decomposition reaction which is occurring in the nature, they are all exothermic process, means the net energy is released in this process. Thank you students. If you like my video, please subscribe my channel Science Classes Dr. Sonal Rajpal 123. If you like my video, please comment. Thank you.